the Everything But Politics podcast.
Everything but politics. Here we go. Dropping bombs today with entrepreneur, sales trainer, and investor, Brad Lee. Brad, great to meet you, bro. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Brad, how is the new podcast studio coming along?
Well, I mean, you always add things to it because it's more of a man cave kind of set now to where it'll constantly being added to, but it's great. I love it. I think it's way better than the old one.
I would love to hear that. Well, Brad, let's get right into it because you're a very busy guy and you got a lot going on. So I'm curious at this point, as opportunities kind of come your way and fall into your lap, how do you determine where to put your time and energy?
It's a good question. And I think time management is a key most people fail to discover until it's later in life. But ultimately, the ones that are going to drive me towards my goal. At the end of the day, man, decisions are the true differentiator between people that are succeeding and people that aren't. It boils down to choices at the end of the day. And those decisions, those choices throughout your day is exactly what you just said. With all these different opportunities coming your way, how do you choose which one to mess with and which one not to mess with? I ask one question: does this move me towards or away?
So, Brad, at this point in your life, what are your goals?
To be a billionaire?
So with that said, what on a daily basis moves you forward? I mean, obviously doing media because that's how we know you, right? Through Instagram, through TikTok, through YouTube. Outside of that, with your businesses, LightSpeed VT, what other avenues are you taking to secure that billionaire status?
That's it.
What is the importance of becoming a billionaire compared to where you are now? Like, what will change in your life in terms of how you feel?
Well, I'll upgrade like a son of a bitch.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'll upgrade. I'll be able to help more people. I'll be able to financially give more than I give now. I think I'll make a lot bigger impact on the world and in life. And I think that first billion is really when I will finally feel like I've accomplished something.
What you've spent time with billionaires, what are there key characteristics that they have that 9-figure millionaires don't have? Like, what are the key distinctions between someone that has a B and an M?
Usually it's time or timing, but at the end of the day, it's because, they solve more problems than the person that doesn't have a billion. Guys, money this is my experience. Money is derived when you solve problems. So if I can solve your problem, you guys are giving me money, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So if you can just solve more problems, you'll make more money. So I haven't made $1 billion because I haven't solved enough problems. So I just need to keep solving problems. I need to keep solving my own problems. Those happen every single day. And then I need to focus on how do I solve everyone else's problem at the same time. And that's really the trick is figuring out how to solve problems. Most people run from problems.
Totally.
Most people avoid them. Most people fret problems. And in reality, those are opportunities, and opportunities are everywhere.
Well, Brad, let me give you a little context. So I'm 25, Evan's 24. A vast majority of our audience is like young men and women, probably aged 18 to 38. So in that 20-year span, when did you kind of have that epiphany? Like, if I'm going to make it to that B status, like I got to become a problem solver rather than just a hard worker.
About 30.
And in your 20s, I know you had sales experience. What were some of those epiphanies or lessons that you learned? Like, there's more than just selling. Like, kind of, if I want to make it to this blank, blank, and blank, the level of success continues to rise. What was that moment?
Well, number one, you guys are already way ahead of where I was because I wasn't asking any good questions to anybody that's accomplished. So you're already in the better situation than I was at your age. At your age, I thought I knew everything and I was running around, trying to impress everyone else and, didn't understand personal development, didn't understand, mentorship and I was pretty much a freaking, destined to fail if I'd have kept going that way. But about 30 years old, I accidentally helped someone make some money. And when I say accidentally, it wasn't accidental. I taught them how to sell. I took them out of a minimum wage job and put them in a job selling, and taught them how to influence and close deals and just basically make money. And so I watched what it did for his family, and I thought it was probably the best kind of warm and fuzzy feeling I'd ever felt, because I'm the one that did that. Like, man, and then I realized I've got the ability to help people that are struggling financially easily make money. Like, why don't I just help other people make money, and then shit, I might make some money. So, but the first thought was, I'm going to help this person make money. It wasn't about me making money because I didn't charge. But I felt that, fulfillment of helping people. And I thought, man, I want to do this for a living now. Maybe I can do it for a business. So I quit my job and I went out and I started freaking training people. And my goal was to help people make more money. It wasn't to make me more money. It was to help other people make more money. And I didn't realize that's what happened when I was doing it, but that is what happened. And that's really when everything changed. So again, you've heard Zig Ziglar say the best way to get what you want is to help others get what they want. Well, dude, that's what I did accidentally without even realizing it. I was helping other people make more money because I had the ability to do it. And in doing that, I made more money. And what was crazy is the more people I would help make more money, I'd make more money. And it was like, wait a minute, that's true. All I got to do is help other people a lot. So then I started figuring out, how can I help people? How can I help people? And then sometimes, man, you ran into problems yourself. And it's like, well, wait a minute, I can't keep worrying about everybody else. I got to go help myself for a second. So then, I would look inward and help myself. And then I would say, okay, I'm helping myself so I can help other people. Because if I help myself become a better version, well, then I'm helping them. So at the end of the day, it was always about, how do I help people? And then my focus shifted from how do I help myself to how do I help everyone else? And that's when before that, I was chasing success. And then after I switched, success started chasing me. And it was almost like hard to fail.
I'm happy you brought that up, Brad.
Brett, I'm happy you mentioned chasing. A question I had is, how do you interpret manifesting versus chasing? Like, it's always easy for someone to want to have a ton of money and chase for it compared to manifesting it.
Well, first, I think chase is a word that someone just made up. Like, you don't chase your dreams, you build them. So what is chasing your dreams? People say, should I chase my dreams? Well, technically, yes and no. Well, what do you mean? Well, depends on how you define chase, because literally chase them? No, that's not how you do it. You build them. But chasing, I think what people mean is go after. And yeah, you should absolutely go after your dreams, chase your dreams, but not literally. Like, you don't chase the son of a bitches, you build them. You first figure out what they are, get specific with that, and then you can reverse engineer it half the time. It's not that difficult. But what was your question?
It was the difference between chasing and manifesting.
Well, manifesting, I believe, is using your mind to attract and create material out of immaterial. So manifestation is using your mind to attract and materialize the things that you want. Chasing is running them down and going after them, I suppose, without plan. So again, between the two, I would manifest instead of chase.
That's interesting because people say attract, don't chase, right? And with that said, do you consider manifesting and attracting to be one of the same?
100%.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
agree.
haven't, when I hear chasing, I think like the antonym would probably be attract, right? I feel manifesting is kind of in its own lane in that regard. But as you say it in that context, there definitely is a correlation there.
Well, how you manifest is attract.
If manifesting is attracting, what is yin to yang with chase? What is chasing? Chasing is blank to what?
Running from.
Okay, so here's another one. So let's talk about like like guys that are chasing girls, right? Like chasing girls usually doesn't end well, right? What's the difference between chasing girls and attracting girls?
Well, there's a lot. Number one,
Okay.
confidence. But again, I think it's important to determine what is your definition of chase, because when people say, I was out chasing women, that means interested, going after them. That doesn't mean uh literally chasing them. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So when someone says it as a figure of speech, that's one thing. I chased women when I was young. I've never chased women. I've been attracting them ever since I was freaking born. But at the end of the day, if someone said, "Did you ever chase women?" Well, in that definition, yeah, but no, I've never chased women. And what's the difference? The difference is when you chase them, they run from you. And when you don't chase them, they're attracted to you.
Looking for something new to listen to? Tired of the same old crap they feed us on the radio? Look no longer. Apollo Celine has got you covered. On Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, you name it. They've got tons of new music suited for you. Check it out.
Well, you mentioned manifestation. So when you go back to 25-year-old Brad, did you manifest this life for yourself, or did things kind of just naturally compound?
I think a blend. I wasn't really aware of manifestation and positive mindset and abundance and the frequencies and the vibrations and quantum physics. I didn't understand a lot of that. I think I accidentally manifested some things because of my bullheaded desire was strong enough to continuously, and I was manifesting without even knowing it. And then some things just happened because, it was lucky. I'm lucky.
It's like we've said this on the show before. It's like those who say they can and those who say they cannot are both correct. Those who say they are lucky and those who say they're unlucky are also both correct.
Well, perhaps, I don't know. I've never done enough studies to figure it out, but I do believe I'm lucky, and I am extremely lucky. But more importantly, I'm willing to roll the dice. Some people are lucky, but they won't roll the dice. Well, then what good is luck? You ever played craps or rolled dice before, guys?
No, I've played blackjack. I've watched our father play craps, but never really got into it.
Okay, well, without rolling the dice, you can't win, right? So,
Yeah.
like, take the dice in your hands, pretend you have dice in your hand, and act like you're about to roll the dice on a craps table. Just go through the motion of
Mm-hmm.
shaking the dice. Okay, go ahead, Evan. You do it too.
Okay.
Yeah, like you're shaking dice. Just keep doing that. Okay? Shake them. Don't let them go though. Just keep shaking them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna get if that's all you do.
You got to roll them.
This is what you're gonna get if you don't roll the dice.
You're just a jerk off.
Bang, you got to roll those bones, fellas. Don't
Beautiful.
forget it, because there's a lot of people that, hey, dude, they're good looking, they're talented, they're smart, they're sharp, but they don't roll the dice. They're afraid of risk. They're too worried about failing. They're too worried about somebody's judgment. So they don't ever pull the trigger. They don't ever roll the dice. They don't ever let go. They just sit there their whole life doing this. It's like, dude, you got to roll the dice.
So, Brad, for someone our age, like myself and Merrick, what are some daily habits that we should be doing to compound and ensure fulfillment in life?
Well, number one, you should be getting up every morning and ultimately being grateful for the fact that you just woke up. Because just because you're young doesn't mean you're going to live forever. You might not live past me. So at the end of the day, we make assumptions when we're young that we're going to live forever. We also fail to appreciate just waking up in the morning, because when we're young, we're invincible and we don't realize this yet. So if I were you, I would get in the habit of being grateful just simply for waking up. Then I would get in the habit of hydration. You know, 32 ounces of water as soon as you wake up. It operates your body, your brain, your neurotransmitters, like hydration. Get in the habit of hydration. Get in the habit of getting your blood pumping, like work out.
Mm-hmm.
Get in the habit of personal development. Read, get new information every single day. Nonfiction, personal development every single day. I would get in the habit of building relationships every single day. All you have to do is reach out to 5 people, see how they're doing, give them a compliment. Don't need anything, don't want anything. Just get in the habit of reaching out to see if you can help them. because everybody knows people that only call when they need something. Don't be one of those people.
Yeah.
Get in the habit of being kind and generous, and reach out and connect with people every single day. You should be thinking about, who's 5 people I can compliment, I can congratulate, or I can console, and just offer my assistance every single day. I'd get in the habit of doing that. And then I would get in the habit of, setting goals and focusing on how do you drive revenue today or accomplish goals. Cause sometimes the goals aren't all financial, but daily goal setting. And then, I would get in the habit of reviewing, your plan every evening, and then be prepared to do it again the next day. Those habits would serve you well.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for that. Well, Brad, you mentioned relationships. The people that you've formed relationships with, who was it, or if anyone, that kind of made you realize, like, damn, I got to step my game up?
A lot of them a lot of them I didn't ever meet personally. They were just examples, leaders, that made me realize I have more potential. And then obviously the people that I do know, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar was a hell of a example and role model. Um, people I used to work with, people I currently work with, like, my kids, my wife, like, I'm a sponge, man. I I get inspiration and realize that everyone knows something I don't. Like, you guys know something I don't. Well, again, that's why I try to be kind and, um, I don't want to say humble, because I don't believe in being humble, but um, you just have to realize everyone knows something you don't. So just because they're older doesn't mean they're wiser. There's people with 20 years experience, and then there's people with 1 year experience 20 times over, which means they didn't learn shit for 20 years. They just same knowledge over and over, which is why they didn't go anywhere, because they thought they knew everything. So I I'm a I literally learn from everyone, but Grant Cardone's obviously one. I hung out with him for a long time, and he definitely taught me to level up. He's constantly leveling up. He's still leveling up, and he's
Yep.
crushing it. Um, a lot. I could name dozens.
Why do you not believe in being humble?
Well, because if you look up the word, it says to have a low opinion of one's own importance.
Hmm.
And I think if God made you, you're not unimportant. Okay. First of all. Second of all, I tried to be humble, and it doesn't work. You gotta roll in like you own the place and roll out like you sold it. You gotta have confidence. You gotta freaking believe in yourself. You gotta have, and it doesn't mean you're arrogant. A lot of people confuse confidence with arrogance. Listen, walking in confidently and believing in yourself, and realizing that you are a capable individual. It doesn't make you think you're better than everyone. That's arrogance. I'm better than everyone. No, that's arrogant. Confident is I'm good. And humble is to have a low opinion of one's own importance. Now, again, I don't believe you should think you're unimportant. I think you should believe the opposite. I think you should I think you should believe that you're damn important. Now, again, if you find yourself in front of God one day, well, I suggest you humble yourself real quick. But last I checked, all the people that I'm talking to, they're not God. They're no more important than I am. Their opinion is no more important than mine. There's people that walk around this earth, and they do not have one bit of confidence, one bit of self-esteem. Their self-worth is in the trash. And let me tell you something, you're never going to outperform your own self-image. So I suggest that you do the opposite. You quit trying to be humble, and you start doing the opposite. Start believing that you're more important. Start believing that you're more worthwhile. Start believing that you're somebody, and that will serve you well, or at least it did me. So people say, well, what about the Bible? The Bible says to be humble. Again, I think the Bible was talking about God. Like, yeah, I suggest you be humble, but we're not talking about God. We're talking about Evan and Merrick. Like you guys aren't God. So why should I think you guys are so important? You know, why should I believe I'm so less important? You know, I shouldn't. I should believe you guys are important and I'm important. And by the way, collectively, I think we're more important, which is
Mm.
the real key in life is to realize that relationships are really what matter. Relationships over money, relationships over health, relationships over everything. Relationships is the secret. People don't realize that. Relationships are the secret. If you guys want more money and you said, Brad, how do I make more money? Get more relationships. The reason you don't have everything you want is because you don't know everything you need to know. You don't know everyone you need to know. Because if you knew everyone you needed to, you'd have everything you wanted. You don't know the right people. You don't have the right information and you don't know the right people. So literally, whatever you want in life, there is somebody out there with the information and the relationship to get it. You just don't have it. So what does that tell you? You want everything you want in life? Start meeting people, start building those relationships, start networking, start becoming more valuable, start raising your self-worth and your self-image. That's when you start to realize like you're hanging around a bunch of clowns, bro. You're hanging around a bunch of negative ass scarcity-based losers. They're talking you into smoking weed and playing Call of Duty when you should be talking into going to the gym and freaking starting a business. But then when you start talking about starting a business, these guys are like, oh yeah, it takes a lot of money. You can't just start a business. That's negative. That's scarcity. So when you start to feel more worthwhile, dude, it's easier to identify these clowns. And you start to go, wait a minute. Doesn't mean you can't be their buddy. Be their buddy as you're rolling by. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm worth more than hanging out with a bunch of drunks, a bunch of freaking potheads, a bunch of freaking scam artists, a bunch of freaking losers. Like, I don't hang around with dipshits. So at the end of the day, why do I feel that way? Well, because dude, I'm a better human being than that. And I'm not going to scam. I'm not going to, it doesn't mean, oh, someone that smokes weed. No, I'm not talking about the weed smoking makes you a loser. I'm talking about look at your surroundings and tell me if you are around people that are doing better than you, equal to you, or worse than you. And if it's equal to or worse than, you need to hang around different people. If your desire is to become a better person.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brett, I'm happy you mentioned that because going back to your conversation with Blake Wynn, talked with him about would you rather have the 20 million or Steve Wynn to call at your disposal whenever the opportunity arises. So you said relationships over money always, but in that epiphany now that you have, was there a time in your life where you chose money over the relationship and paid the price?
Yeah, many, many times. One of them was with Grant. Me and Grant were partners. I mean, we still are technically in business, but we used to be kind of buddies. He tried to renegotiate a deal that I didn't want renegotiated. And so basically I was like, screw you, bro. And he's like, well, bro, I'm not going to keep paying you. And I'm like, well, you agreed to it. And he's like, well, we got to make a new agreement then. And I'm like, screw you, bro. And it literally strained a relationship that would have paid way more than it has afterwards. So had I been able to reverse that, I would have said, bro, no problem, dog. No problem, dude. I got you, bro. I ain't worried about the money. The money will come. We'll make more money together. Like, if that helps you, bro, let me help you. That's what I should have done.
So for someone starting a business today, what business would you recommend someone get involved in?
Well, I mean, I just recommend someone starts a business. Okay, to work in a cubicle, to
Fair.
work with salary is ridiculous if you have a goal to be financially successful, guys. In order to, I don't know anybody that's not selling something to somebody. Like, I think all day long, who do I know that isn't selling something to somebody? And the answer is nobody. I don't know anybody successful financially that isn't selling something to somebody. So, I mean, if you want to be rich, bro, you better start a business and start selling something to somebody.
Now in 2025, $1 million is not what it used to be. What is a bare minimum that someone needs to have to that you would consider rich and to live a comfortable life?
Well, it depends on the person.
Fair.
Guys, there's no one answer for what someone thinks is rich.
What's your distinction between being rich and being wealthy?
Rich is the person the wealthy person pays. So like LeBron James is rich. Okay. The person that was paying LeBron is wealthy. These are all semantics and cliches that you hear around the world, which is why the truth, which is just what I'm saying, and this is just my opinion. Again, everyone's got their own answer, but for me, rich is subjective because again, you know, if you ask me, 5 million isn't rich. 5 million's comfortable. I think 5 million's enough to get rich, but like, well, what's rich to you, Brad? 100 million plus. But then again, dude, you ask somebody that's been making 60 grand a year his whole life, if 10 million's rich, they're like, oh my God, I'd be so rich. Well, again, what's rich? You know, what's rich? So it's like, that's subjective. What's rich? I don't know. I mean, for me, like shit, 100 million. But again, that could be broke to somebody else. That's broke to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
He would die if he only had 100 million. So at the end of the day, what's rich? I don't know. And what's wealthy? I don't know. To me, rich is when you are loved by your family and you have your health and everyone's happy and everybody's successful and there's no, you know, pain and, you know, you have a good life. It's not really measured by money, rich.
On the hunt for legendary wings, Buffalo's in Bloomington, Indiana, and Carmel, Indiana has you covered. Crowned top 10 wings in the nation by USA Today, our wings are a fan favorite. Dip into Mrs. Louie's famous sweet Q sauce for that sweet and tangy kick. Visit Buffalo's and wing it like a pro.
Was the definition of success constantly changing?
Success, yeah. Financial success, it's all I used to be a million. Like I thought all I needed was $1 million to live the way I want to live and to be able to give how I want to give. Well, $1 million even then isn't what I thought it was. Because I was naive. I thought $1 million, man, you're done. You don't need any more money. You can buy whatever you want, go wherever you want, loan people money, give people money. I was naive. I think that now is $1 billion, and I might end up there and realize that's not even enough. Well, that's the problem, I think. And I'm hoping that I don't fall into that trap. When I hit $1 billion, I mean, I have enough now to not work. Like I could get off social media, I could shut down all my businesses and never work again. But to what level and where's the impact and how am I going to help all these other people then? And the answer is going to be, you won't, bro. Now you got to change your ways and you got to stop being so generous because now there's only so much. You see, my mindset would go into scarcity mode if I had no ambition. And now I got to save and now I got to, should I spend that? And well, I can't help that person because what if I don't have anything? I don't think like that now. I think, thank God I'm alive and healthy and well, and there's an abundance of money, there's an abundance of opportunity, and I just keep thinking abundantly. And because I have abundance in my life, I'm successful, even if it's not as abundant as other people might think. So like Elon Musk would think that I'm broke. Well, dude, I don't think that. He thinks that. Does that make me broke? No. Compared to him, compare. That's the problem. Too many people are comparing. Don't compare, prepare. Like to me, guys, right now, you could have $1,000 in the bank and be rich. Why? Because you're freaking healthy and you're gonna have longevity far beyond some guy with money that's gonna die in 3 months from cancer. Like, what would you rather have? A long life with no money, or a short life with a bunch of money?
Yeah, no question.
And by
No
the way,
question.
that's also subjective. Some people might be like, I'd rather live short and rich. Well, again, dude, then not me. Okay. I would rather be, hey, Brad, you're never going to make more than you need, not want. You're never going to make more than you need, but you'll live 100 years healthy and happy, versus, Brad, I'll give you $50 billion, but you got to die when you're 65. Not me. I don't want to die, period.
Well, Brett, as we're on the topic of important financial decisions, let's talk about marriage. A lot of kids my age are starting to get engaged. Me, Evan, our brother, none of us are in relationships, but I'm seeing all this. When you see a 25, 26-year-old getting engaged while broke, what are your thoughts on that? And should they wait until they have some money in the bank to make that probably the biggest decision of your life?
Well, again, I mean, the truth is, what's the worst that can happen?
I mean, you got more years of experience than us. What's the worst that you've seen happen?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, again, guys, everybody wants to, don't get married. It's a very important decision. Guys, you can get a divorce just as easily as you got married. So it's not that big of a decision. Now, if you choose the wrong person, it will definitely impede your journey. It will definitely impede your happiness. I do not recommend you just go out willy-nilly and marry whoever because you can get a divorce. So that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, the truth is, it ain't that big a deal. It's not, oh, you better choose right or you're screwed. That's not true. You can choose wrong 5 times in a row and still be fine. At the end of the day, though, I wouldn't personally tell people to get married at all. Like, being married is simply allowing the state to enter into the equation and be part of a future decision. And why do that? Because society pressures you into it. You can't have a baby out of wedlock. Well, get married under God and then don't worry about it. Like, in other words, why do you have to file a certificate with the state? So again, if someone asks me, Brad, what do you think about being married ever? I personally don't think there's any value in an actual marriage.
I love that answer.
Brett, did you always believe that? Like when you were our age, did you believe that?
No, I thought that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get married, have kids, raise a family, blah, blah, blah. But you can do all that without actually marrying anybody. And then when people start to judge you, that's where you got to elevate and realize, listen, I don't need other people's validation because I validate myself. There's nothing wrong with it unless you think there is. And again, personally, I don't. I think you're stupid to get married.
Well, and also the downside comes to a male who has created a life for himself, and where a woman could just take everything. There's not much of a downside for a woman getting married if they're not working and they're just hopping on the wagon.
Well, it's wrong. It's dumb for a woman to get married too. Guys, getting married just means you're bringing the state involved. Like, why do you want the state involved at all?
It's the traditions people have adopted, right?
That's all it is. It's traditions. It's freaking, it's stupid rules. And a lot of those rules were made up with ill intent. Marriage under God, it used to be. Marriage under God, what is that? That means you are committing to each other, right? Okay, why can't you do that without filing a certificate with the state of Nevada? Go down and turn in your certificate and get the stamp that the state says you guys are married. They legally see you as married, so you are now married. That's the dumb part. I'm not saying committing to one person is dumb.
Yes.
I think that's honorable. In fact, I don't believe you shouldn't do that, but I think you should commit to one person. I think a dude that sleeps around a lot, in this day and age is rolling the dice way too much. I think again, if you truly valued yourself and considered yourself a prize or a valuable thing, well then you wouldn't just go banging any girl that wants to let you. See, a lot of guys, all they'll do is they'll screw the girls because they'll let them. And so that's the reason. She let me. Well, dude, just because they let you doesn't mean you should. Which one should you have sex with? The ones you want to procreate with. Okay. If you want to have a child with them, have sex with them. You don't want to have a child, don't have sex. That's the real truth. Now, is that realistic? Hell no. Is that what I did? Hell no. When you guys say, Brad, you just said it's stupid to be married, but you're married. Well, again, I'm stupid.
But with that, what were some other traditional mindsets that you've abandoned?
Just worrying about everyone else's opinion. Like at the end of the day, I spent a lot of time, a lot of money trying to impress other people so they would think this and think that. And in reality, it doesn't matter what everyone else thinks. What matters is what you think. And that's the truth. Like, I don't need other people's validation anymore because I went out and I did the work and I validate myself now. So I don't need someone to think I'm cool because I know I'm cool. I don't need someone to think I'm nice because I know I'm nice. So like, I'm a good dude, period. And it doesn't matter what you think because I think it. So unless I give you more weight on your opinion than I have on mine, your opinion doesn't count. And that's what people need to get to. And it doesn't make you rude and it doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you, I think it makes you more powerful. And quite frankly, I'm not talking about someone who's lying to themselves and they're acting like they're in control when they're actually not, because deep down they don't like themselves. They don't think they're worth anything, and they're out there cheating and stealing and lying and scamming and walking around with this false bravado. That's fake. Okay, I'm talking about real self-worth. Once you get to a position where you're a good individual, like you'd pass right through heaven right now if they were to judge you. You stop seeking everyone else's validation.
What age did you stop caring what other people thought about you?
I mean, again, I do care what people think. I want everyone to think I'm cool and like me. And I mean, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I want everyone to, but if they don't, I'm okay with that. I would say about 50. Now, keep in mind, I wish I would have thought about it at your age. Because again,
Understood. Yeah.
how old are you guys?
25 and
24.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, you assume you have your whole life ahead of you. Okay. Well, in reality, bro, you'll be my age before you freaking know it. It'll go by so fast, you'll be like, damn, dude, that did fly by. And no matter what, you will never be younger than you are today. So don't let time waste, man. Keep doing these podcasts. Keep listening to people that are experienced in certain things. You don't have to believe it and you don't have to apply it, but dude, to not listen and not inquire and not seek the is foolish. And you guys are obviously already doing that, but there's a lot of people out in the world. They just think they know everything and they're not seeking, they're not asking, and they're not even considering. And that's who I was. And so about 50 years old is when I really had enough time and work put in that I actually earned the self-worth that I have. Like, I wasn't always the guy, I wasn't always good enough. But now I am. So how did I get there? Well, I started around, I'd say about, 30 originally, but I didn't really know then. But looking back, I probably started around 45 and I started doing the work and shutting my mouth and paying attention and paying the dues and paying the price and quit talking about it and just started doing more and being more. And then after, a couple of years of that, it's like, damn, I'm really, getting there. And hey, holy mackerel, like I'm not bragging anymore. I'm doing it. And over time you look back and you're like, dude, I did the work. I know what I'm talking about. You lose the imposter syndrome. You have evidence, right? I have evidence I'm a good person. I have evidence I've done the work. And when you get that, you just get a different, I would say, confidence about you. So believe it or not, yeah, 50. I mean, guys, I'm just now feeling like I probably should have felt at your age. You guys could already be thinking like this and feeling this. But if you wait and wait and wait, you'll be 35 before you did the work. You guys just got to do the work. And maybe you have, because I don't know you guys, but whoever's listening to this, do the work. Like, get it done. You're not going to avoid it. It's going to come one way or the other. You're going to pay a price one way or the other. Pay the freaking price now. So you can enjoy what I'm talking about from 25 on, because it's not an age thing. It's like, well, you got to be 50. You got to learn. No, you don't, dude. You got to pay attention, listen, and do the work. And if you do the damn work now consistently, which is paying the price, dude, you'll get to enjoy this shit from a young age. And dude, I wish I'd have done that.
Brett, we've been doing this for about 3 years, a little over 3 years now. And a trend I've come to notice is the people that have been successful in whatever industries they've pursued, it's not so much an intellectual thing or smarter or better opportunities. It's more of just a matter of consistency, not quitting, really just kind of like you said, putting in the work. When you look at the people in your life that have made it, whatever made it means, or been successful, is that a common trend in your life as well?
Yeah, there's two main reasons why people fail. And there's only two. Number one, they don't get started. And number two, they don't keep going. So those are the only two reasons people fail. They didn't keep going. That's a lot of times. And they didn't get started. That's the other times. So if you get started and keep going, yeah, it might be ups and downs. Yes, you might, go broke 41 times. But if you don't stop, you will make it. And if you don't start, you'll never make it. So all you got to remember is, listen, get started and don't stop. You can shift, you can change, but just don't stop and make sure you start. Now, when it comes to podcasting, again, I'm at like 980 episodes, which makes your 154 seem a little like you're new, right?
Yeah.
Dude, there's people that can't get past 10 episodes. You're way past those guys, which is why you probably a lot more confident on these episodes as you were when your first ones, correct?
Correct.
Totally.
See, so just keep doing the work. Joe Rogan, I don't know how many he's got, probably thousands. Well, he happens to be top podcast in the world because number one, he didn't quit or he wouldn't be. Number two, he got started, didn't he? But it's also, he's a comedian. He was on television. He was on Fear Factor. He had relationships. It was time, consistency. There's gonna be a time where Joe Rogan is not the number one. I think there was actually. Did Kelsey take him over at one time or
Briefly, yeah.
for a minute? Yeah. So again, I mean, it's like, and then everybody wants to say, oh, Joe Rogan, dude, Joe Rogan, he just did the work. He's authentic. He's a funny dude. He's on UFC fights. Obviously, guys, he was doing podcasts when no one knew what a podcast was.
Yes.
True.
So imagine how much better he is at it than we are.
No doubt. No doubt. And of all the people that you've had on your podcast, who's had the most profound impact on the way you think or even changed the way you think?
It's collective, man. I listen and then I reflect and then I say, what can I take from that and apply? And so like every single one, I've taken a little something. So collectively, it makes the biggest impact. There wasn't one single person that caused me to shift my perspective that much.
For us, there's episodes that certain guests that like we reflect on comments they made or statements they made, but overall just a gradual way of thinking. Like a lot of these guests we've had on, like I'll listen to their podcast for weeks in advance, read their books, watch their content. And like some are less so, like it's sports betting stuff. It's more casual, but everything I could imagine at 900, what you know now versus what you knew in 2017 has got to be just, I mean, insane to even think about.
Well, again, you live and you learn. But again, the question is, who are you talking to? I
True.
talked to somebody that was literally homeless on a friend's porch. He let him sleep on a couch, and I was picking up stuff from him, man. And it was like not stuff to do, but stuff not to do. So if you're listening and you're open, you're gonna learn from children. You're gonna learn from coworkers. You're gonna learn from lessons of life and stuff that you caused, stuff that you could have avoided. But you got to be paying attention. A lot of times, and especially when I was younger, I wasn't really paying attention. I thought I was, but I really wasn't. Sounds like you guys were already, like I said, way ahead of where I was. I didn't have a podcast. I wasn't asking any questions. I wasn't into personal development. I didn't even read books. Like I started reading about 45. At 30, I started this company right now, that is multi 8-figure company going on 9. Maybe, I mean, if I exited, I'd get 9. And I think I'll end up, probably getting close to a Billy just exiting this one. And I've got 7. You live and you learn. Like, for example, I've built all my businesses from scratch. Dude, it's smarter to buy them.
Mm. Why do you say that? Just because of the work that was put in, from ground zero to ground 100?
Well, yeah, dude, listen, they'll say that, X amount of businesses go out of business. No, X amount of startups go out of business. Once you're in business, not very many go out of business. Okay. The hard part is getting them going and starting them and developing the systems and the processes and going through the pains and the suffering of startups. Okay. Raising money, losing money, basically going out of business. Well, once businesses are established for a specific amount of time, they actually don't go out of business very often. The SBA, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the SBA will loan each of you $5 million to go buy a business right now today, as long as you're not a felon, you don't have a bankruptcy, and you have at least a 640 credit score. They don't even care if you have a job. Why?
Ancient. Wow.
Well, because the business that you're purchasing has cash flow, and that cash flow will pay the debt service. So literally for $5 million loan, they will give anyone that fits that criteria $5 million to go buy a business. 75 businesses that are purchased, one fails. So that's a big difference. And so the systems are figured out, the processes are figured out, the marketing's figured out, the customers have already figured out. You don't have to figure it all out. You can buy a successful business right now.
That Brad, that's something that like that entrepreneur hustle culture does not preach. You don't hear that when outside of you right now, but I feel like when you're on Instagram or TikTok, whatever you're consuming from an entrepreneurial perspective, that is not a theme or trend that's portrayed.
Well, I'm going to start portraying it then.
I think you
'cause
should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's smarter than building one.
And
Buy one.
you actually answered my question, Brett. I was gonna say, how does someone without money go and buy a business? And you said it perfectly with the S&B loan. So we
SBA.
appreciate. This has been an incredible talk.
Well,
Really
yeah, but
insightful.
Brett, I want to conclude with one thing. So you talked about your goals, billionaire, obviously to keep it as simple as possible. But if we were to do this again, you're 120 years old. What would you have hoped you'd accomplish? And when we look, not that legacy means much, because you're not going to be here. But when you're 120, looking back on your life, what will you be most proud of?
Hopefully that I made an impact and the world knows I was here. The world's a better place because Brad Lee was here.
Beautiful, Brad. Thanks for keeping it real, bro. You definitely dropped some bombs. This was long overdue. It was an absolute honor to welcome you to our show. For anyone
Thank you.
listening, where can they find you, keep up with you and all you got going on?
Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, social media, LinkedIn, Google, anywhere and everywhere. If you look around, I'm there. And if I'm not there, let me know where I'm not so I can get there, because I want to be
Love it.
omnipresent.
Beautiful. Bradley, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you. Thanks, man.